Alright, last we left off with Skyrim. I'm basically at the end game, but I'm the only person in the universe that has pushed the main story in this game instead of dicking around. And so I'm under-leveled for the end game. So we're going to dick around. We're going to do what Skyrim's all about for probably about 10 hours of gameplay over the next several sub-blocks, and then we'll go and finish it. I'm just exploring this dungeon right now, and Game Saucer mentioned a console command to make Lydia immortal, which I would like to do because when she dies, I'm just going to load the game anyway, and like the way she goes about dying is kind of silly. Go ahead and pick the lock on this gate real quick. Set essential. Marston cheats. I know, right? Using console commands is part of the normal Skyrim experience. Thank you. Load my save on this lockpick here. Increases to 34. Trying to not pick up everything. I still don't know what's valuable. I assume ingots are valuable. But I can't tell whether, like, scrap metal is something that's ever going to matter. Alright, so I do tilde key, set essential A2C8E1. Or do I have to, like, press something else in order to get that to work? 30 bits of scrap metal to defeat the final boss. I know, right? Is there something else I have to enable in the do I have to like type enable console or something? Good. Skyrim's pretty quiet. Turn the balance up. Try to remember to turn it back down for Little Nightmare. Or, Little Inferno. Hi, friend. We'll see. I guess if she dies, I'll try messing with it later, but it may have worked earlier. It doesn't give you any feedback when you put in a console command successfully, right? However, you've been targeted by a Dark Brotherhood assassin, only level 1, you could hardly harm them without getting your ass kicked, and you had to use a console command to resolve it. That's crazy. Skyrim's performance is actually one of the main reasons I picked up a second PC for streaming. When we first started playing it, like even though the game was super outdated, it was poorly optimized. So usually the stuff that's on the counter next to an alchemy station is usable in alchemy. It's kind of a cool, flavorful hint, like, hey, you can use these ingredients. Curious will suggest a mod to fix the Dark Brotherhood assassin thing. Oh, it's a DLC event. Interesting. Sorry, Crimson Nernroot. Shit happens. Give me that image of the dog with the beakers. I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel like this is how you figure out recipes in this game, though, right? Or you Google them. It grays the stuff out if you know it doesn't do anything. Motion of lockpicking. That's cool. Mod sets a minimum character level or amount of story progress before it can trigger. Interesting. That makes sense. I saw Dwemer alchemy thingamajig, so. Unlock gate adepts. Back in the habit of quick saving. You got too used to Alpha Protocol's lockpicking, you have to be more careful. Don't have infinite lockpicks. Steel horned helmet. Sanctified steel sword. Oh, it's going to need to put lockpicks behind a locked door. Morrowind is a really severe upside down difficulty curve. There's an ingredient you only get one of and you can totally waste it. Cool! I appreciate it, Cave Saucer, if you look it out. I enjoy this community fucks with me like that. Like when Serp we were playing Full Metal Furies. I don't know how many folks were tuned in for that game, but there's an element where you level up abilities, and there's different abilities you can level up, and you get permanent character benefits for leveling them up. And he had an ability that he really liked, but it reached max level, and he was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep using this. I'm like, so you're not going to switch to an ability that still can gain XP? You're just going to let the XP get wasted? He said, yeah, I totally am. I'm like, okay. Rub it in my face at the end of every stage. He's like, oh, look at that. Those 2 skills that are just maxed. That XP that didn't go anywhere. Uh-huh. I'll be fine. It took me like 20 hours, but I think I've figured out how to properly enjoy Skyrim. I feel like Skyrim is sort of the anti-Souls game in a way, in that everyone has their own unique experience with how they interface with it. I mean, there's a few things that seem to be pretty common, like the stealth archer jokes. Everyone's like, oh, I play with these 7 mods, and here's the console command I use, and I mostly run around role-playing. Closer to, Minecraft, right? Get an ingredient during a quest. You need it for the quest, and you can use it for your own purposes later. It makes ridiculously strong poisons. Hey, Scarf, how you doing? Let's quick save. Fulmer. Is that command we put in earlier for Lydia something we'll do at the beginning of each stream, or should it just be on the save file now? That's nuts. That makes sense, Raker. I mean that in terms of the community, not necessarily in the game. Like, there are a lot of different ways to play and enjoy Dark Souls, but the Dark Souls community is pretty well known for having some opinions on don't summon and don't use dex weapons and da-da-da-da-da. Another follower later on, you have to do it for them, but Lydia is now essential and won't ever die. Awesome. It's interesting to me that they didn't make followers essential anyway. It's like they went halfway there. They made it hard for them to die. Because, like, if an enemy depletes their health, they just go down for a few seconds, regenerate, and the enemy stops targeting them. So the only way to kill them is to, like, accidentally kill them. I guess purposefully kill them, but I feel like you could do that through a dialogue tree. You could, like, talk to them and piss them off and flag them as being hostile or something. Mm-hmm. It's not like Fallout 2 where, like, if one of your followers is a fucking Deathclaw, you're like, I don't want this guy to die because he's too rad. Shit. I believe this game is 8 years old. It feels like it came out yesterday. There's one cool follower. Right on. I don't know if I've met any followers other than Lydia. I guess they don't appear on the main quest. That's what they put Lydia there, so that if you're just doing the main quest like a animal, like I am, you'll at least get one. Fallout feels like it's more... I've thought about this, but I haven't really been able to put it to words. Let's see. Fallout seems more character-focused. Elder Scrolls seem more setting-focused. Like, setting is definitely a part of Fallout. But if you think of it in like a scale of 1 to 100, I feel like Fallout maybe spends, it does like an 80 in character focus and like a 60 in setting, and Skyrim's like 100 in setting and like a 20 in character maybe. So it's cool that it's so heavily specialized in setting, you know? Whereas Trails of Cold Steel, what we were just playing, feels like it's about 80-80 in character and setting. There are mercenaries too. Mercenaries are just generic followers, I assume. Expert blockpicking, dead center. Ah! I thought it rolled a 50 and a 1 to 100, and it rolled like a 52 or something. Alright. Orichalcumore. Everyone's favorite hard to pronounce ore. Does anyone know, like, where orichalcum came from? Is it like an actual real-world mythical ingredient? Mithril is effectively the invention of Tolkien, right? I wonder if there's some, like, seminal work that established orichalcum and now it's in everything. I appreciate someone rotate the rock block that slowly. Does that keep from busting your pick? Actually, I was busting too many picks at the beginning because I was remembering how to lockpick in Alpha Protocol. Ally mentioned in ancient writings, stories of Atlantis. Oh, cool. So it's like Damascus steel. Although, actually mythological and not just confusing. Go team. I love living in this world where you can Google things. I grew up before the internet, and back in those days, if you didn't know something, you kind of just had to deal with that. It was awful. Did I just quick save? I'm pretty good about that today, haven't I? I got wrecked. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like Damascus Steel, except Damascus Steel is real. Oh, I quick saved before, and then it re-rolled. Bummer. And it's expert lock too. Or Halcom may have been a real thing. Yeah, Damascus Steel is real. We have some examples of Damascus Steel surviving, right? We just don't know how to make it. Reload. Oh, I guess you get lockpicking increases even for breaking picks. Full metal like platinum. It's a slight increase. And that's per broken pick, not per, like, attempt. Like, you have to consume a resource to build the skill up, right? Oh, I thought I had it. Lame. First try.
We've got this, Marsted.
And Damascus Steel is the inspiration for
First try.
Valyrian Steel in Game of Thrones, I think. Whole folding the thing. Use meteorite, had furnaces that got hotter than anyone else could for the next 300 years. Alright, don't die this time. Don't want to pick that. Well, I guess I don't have to pick the lock again because I quick saved, but. Can't see you, dude. Spawning in the dark. Three more lockpicks. Mining is not a skill, it's just, you just get the item. There's no stat associated with it. I forget, there's eventually an ability to do stealth magic in this, right? Or was that a mod? Just get the item, okay. So she's injured, but she won't die. Which is good. I'd still like her to get injured. Like, I don't want her to be an invincible killing machine. I just don't want to have a stray lightning bolt kill her and me not notice it for 20 minutes and reload my save an hour earlier. Fantasy book or movie where the adventurer just stopped to mine stuff. Yeah, because like mining is the thing that adventurers do, right? There we go, multipliers for stealth casting. Okay. Everyone always jumped everywhere. Yeah, it'd be fun to do a stealth mage playthrough. I only just recently have my stats gotten high enough that I'm starting to do decent damage with magic. Oh right, they can put up a shield. Thanks, Lydia. Staff of Firebolts. When I play Oblivion, I'm gonna jump everywhere. Oh yeah. No, if they give me an incentive to do something like that. I think I've probably asked in earlier sessions, but like, how cheesable are there any skills in this game where you can just stand and do something or hit the same NPC over and over and over to spam level it up? Or where that's even the optimal way to do it? I assume you get to max lockpicking by simply picking every lock in the game, right? Because there's a finite number of locks. There's no way to grind it. I've heard people talk about the Morrowind jump spell, where you can like jump so high that by the time it wears off, you fall and die. Alright, I need to remember that stealth should be always sneaking just to level it up, nothing else. So it's based on me being near an enemy without them seeing me, kind of. For silent casting. Secret fast travel. Has the Elder Scrolls series been in the control of Bethesda from the very beginning? I guess I don't really know the history of Bethesda as a studio. Now I'm detected. I see. Just like the bite of a flea, she says. Oh, it was their first IP. Interesting. Oh, I thought I had it. Might be where I was before. It was almost exactly, I think. I think I accurately described how the lockpicking works under the hood before, that there's like a random number between 1 and 100 that you can picture as like this is 1 and this is 100. And then one of those numbers is the correct number. Difficulty of the lock is how precise you have to be, how many points away from that number you're allowed to be and still pick it. And I guess skill increases that window. This might be the one I already tried. Probably gonna have to reload to get picks back. So like, you know, the hardest lock in the game, when you have level 1 lockpicking, the secret number might be like a 53 or something. So you would need to get exactly to point 53 to be able to pick it. your skill compared to lock difficulty. I see. So it's not so much that your lock picking increases the window, it just defines what the base window is when you attempt to pick it. So is the number on this lock actually fixed then after I've quick saved at it? Nice. First try. Like, was it always in the same location every time? I just had to find it? Doesn't like reload or anything? Alteration increased to 17. You know, every freaking session I talk about installing a highlight skill books thing, and I never do it. I don't know if I want to break the mod installation seal, but I guess if there's a game we're going to install mods on, it probably should be a Elder Scrolls game. Number resets each time you try to lock the getting headed to our container. This is just luck. Anytime you exit the picking and come back, just happen to be near it. Okay, I see. What game does lockpicking in Skyrim degenerate to? Hot and cold. Whoops. Falmer resisted Dragon Rend. It's pretty dead, man. What's over this way? Oh, I was denied my opportunity to pick the lock. I like how a master lock, behind the master lock door, was a key for an expert lock door. Aw. I guess skill maybe also impacts pick tolerance before it snaps. Pretty dead and not a dragon. Gold diamond ring, just worth me. Decorative strut. I'm trying to find stuff that matters. Ooh-wee. Daggerfall's huge in the same way. Yeah, it's just like procedurally generated. The map keeps going on forever. I see. It could be fun hunting for authored content in a procedural game. That can be part of the fun of playing a primarily procedural game. Like how I still don't show as detected, because they aggroed on Lydia. Interesting. So, can I just like let Lydia fight and keep sneaking around them and my stealth skill will keep going up, or how does that work exactly? Or does stealth only get like a couple chances to boot up? Like if I found an enemy and just stealth behind cover and I was within shot of them and they didn't see me, could I just sit there for hours and my stealth skill would slowly climb, or does it cap per enemy? I've heard that Arena and Daggerfall have not aged very well. Oh, traps. Hunter fledgling. Armor, diver lever, gold. Stamina regenerates 20% faster, it seems cool. They're free on Bethesda's site. Interesting. We haven't had to give up on game compatibility yet. Came pretty close with Red Alert 2. It was the Origin version just does not run on modern operating systems, and if you try to run it in a virtual machine, it runs exceptionally badly. I should build a an XP tower that's like peak specs. Probably make one pretty cheaply. Peak XP specs. You can probably run them in a DOSBox then just fine, right? DOSBox is pretty good at emulation. Like it seems like the worst period to try to do is like XP, Vista, 98 era games. Nobody's really made a good emulator for those. It's never going to work, gotcha. We had to use DOSBox for a couple games. Battletech Crescent Hawks Inception. Another one. I just want to see if I get a stealth upgrade by chilling over here. Also, we can test if Lydia is actually immortal. So, does essential mean that she won't have hit points, or does essential mean that she won't be able to be reduced below 1 hit point? You can actually buy a XP license, or is it just on the secondary market? There's a way on the high seas to register XP. It wasn't... Microsoft didn't have their shit together yet in that era. It involves the way that you do offline registration with like calling a telephone number and populating some code. Box copy on Amazon. I think about it, we'll see. I could probably build a really good XP machine for compatibility purposes for like less than a few $100s. But I'd probably wait to do it until somebody adds a game to the voting spreadsheet where it's really going to matter. The only games I'm really worried about playing right now are like Saturn games. I think Sky Corvus, while Panzer Dragoon Saga was still on the voting spreadsheet, was talking about shipping their Saturn to me with their SCART cable so I could plug it into the FrameMeister. This emulation is not working there. U.S. Department of Defense pays $2 billion for XP continuing support. Oh man. If shit works, and it's expensive to replace... Oh shit, I don't think I quick save recently, did I? We'll see. There's characters who get to that beaten status can't be killed. I'm very happy they can still reach beaten status. Okay, because it was a while ago. Let me get my stealth up again if I can. It feels less cheesy and more convenient. I'm not going to use it to, like, create an invincible follower that just wins every encounter for me. I didn't get the stealth up that time. Weird. I don't know what drives it, I guess. So, did I die to that bug earlier just because it was... Oh, it just does a ton of damage when it bites you. Never mind. we worked at when I worked at Chase, the mortgage industry uses this ancient like 70s mainframe. And everyone's like, yeah, there's no reason to upgrade it. Everything in the banking industry runs on it. You make apps that like plug into it, basically. I remember one of our biggest projects at Chase was converting from one 70s database system to another 70s database system that the rest of the mortgage industry used. The VA still runs XP. Nuclear weapons control system with the same reliability as any printer driver. Printers are haunted, okay? We talk about how savvy geek people are good with computers and know that computers aren't magic and that any problem is solvable. That's not true with printers. Printers are basically ghosts. You know, people stopped seeing ghosts after everyone had a camera in their pocket and couldn't claim to have seen things without proof. Those ghosts just kind of realized that they didn't really have a market spooking people anymore because all the plausible deniability was gone, so they just infested printers. Although, I did recently buy a Brother laser printer, and big thumbs up. You think about it, like, the number of times you need color printing is so small. Most of the time when you want to print something random, it doesn't matter. And if you really, really, really need color printing for some reason, you can always just go to FedEx or somewhere. Yeah. It is the best printer experience I've ever had with this thing. I bought it on Amazon. Lasts forever. The toner is super cheap. I've never had like a job sent to it not work for goofy reasons like every other printer I've ever owned. It got to a point where like it was almost always cheaper to buy a new printer than it was to buy ink for printers. I would just try to live my life never printing anything, hoping people would accept the PDF on my phone. Part of the problems that led to the crashes of the USS Fitzgerald and USS McCain. None of them knew how to steer it properly. None of the officials knew how to operate their ancient radar or how to fix it. I feel like Brother printers are the Southwest Airlines of printers. I guess non-US viewers won't know what I'm talking about, but like... Southwest is, I mean, it's still flying, and flying still sucks, but it's like as painless as flying can possibly be. So I don't know if the radar on the Fitzgerald is working or not. Wow. It's one of my favorite Mitch Hedberg jokes. He was talking about, I wrote someone a script, they asked me to rewrite it, and I said, fuck that, I'll just make you a copy. It's like, it always makes me happy to know that Kinko's is open 24 hours. Sometimes I'll wake up at 5 in the morning in a cold sweat and be like, wait, oh yeah, Kinko's. Alright. I mostly bought it for. I've been doing D&D with Sailor Dan and his wife Lindsay, and she didn't want to do it exclusively digital, even though I still do most of it through Roll20. So I like set up a TV with the map on it, and then I printed out their character sheets and like physical power cards and that sort of thing. Acquires key. Okay. Cannot be picked. Yep, that's why I did it. Also, I can really vouch for that card creator app that I posted in Discord a while ago. I think they may have just raised the price, which is kind of a bummer, but it's great. You can make your own set of cards with different card backs and like pre-generated symbols. You can position them appropriately. You can get cards to auto-generate based on a database you set up. A friend asked me if I had any tips or advice for someone looking to try D&D. Yeah, Mr. Drug Dealer, sir, you know where I can buy some drugs? No, it's the Ninja Turtles 1 pizza scene where April asks whether they like pizza. It's like, all I've got is some cold pizza. Pizza? Aww. I need to finish running that. I have it. Started running it with Kat, Donovan, and Jaden. But D&D is not super the bag of Jaden or Donovan. Kat really likes it, though. Black Dynamite. I sell drugs in the community. We're getting to Black Dynamite 2 soon, aren't we? I love that movie. The scene where they're like deducing the plot. It's a rod of Asclepius. It is a master lock. Oh, I didn't know there was a cartoon. It's like Chocobo Hot and Cold. Oops. Should use that potion to fortify lockpicking, because when else am I going to use it, right? Hey, Andrea, good job. You getting Papa John's? Ugh. Andrea's on her second business trip. She was home for like 24 hours. She'll be gone until next Wednesday, so I'm going to do another long Sekiro stream on Monday. I hate Papa John's. It's pizza is like almost universally fine. I'll eat almost any kind of pizza, and I guess I'll eat Papa John's if I have no choice, but it's my least favorite. 9% easier for 30 seconds. It's not a lot easier. Does 30 seconds freeze when I start the lockpicking? Just to keep me from using it on multiple locks. This seems kind of like a time frozen type situation. I can't even find the general area this time. Whoops. Huh? Nope. It's more to the left. Thanks, Riker. It's hard sometimes. I'm not a smart man. Oops. Although, hey, the door didn't say that it resisted Dragon Rend, so... First try. Drop of the healer. Wonderful stamina. Most of the chest loot is random-ish. I guess you can only be sure that loot is authored if it's like planted in the game world and not in a container. I guess that they needed to do that. It's like Breath of the Wild, right? They had all of the best loot in fixed locations. You could go to an early shrine and be OP for most of the game. I guess you gotta kind of sort of scale it to your progress. I sure have been. I haven't been playing that inefficiently. Had to reload a couple times due to save shenanigans. Where's a key to open? The key's gotta be somewhere in this room, right? Probably wouldn't be behind the master lock door. And places are just really big. Not just a Falmer, but a Gloom Lurker. So we established earlier that puzzle solutions are usually in the same general area as, like, the door locked by the puzzle. Is that also generally true for keys, that you're not going to, like, go find a key to a random door in a dungeon on the other side of the game world? It's probably somewhere not too far away. Places to explore. Keys are a little more unreliable. Okay. Is it possible that I get this deep into a dungeon and then just not have the key for the exit door and have to go all the way out? What's the name of the place I'm in? Can I see? Mizulft's Adrome key. Where can I find the key to the door? The right path where a Dwarven Centurion is. I don't know if I saw the Centurion. No. Key, resolved key. I think this is progress, this key here. I want to find it before we wrap the session because I'm going to struggle to do it next time if I don't do it right now. Must be a side path that I skipped. There's no maps of areas once you're inside a dungeon, right? I guess there is, never mind. Oh, this is new. Those with the dwarves and robot spiders. You think we're that guy in Hollywood who's obsessed with them. The dude that was involved in like Wild Wild West and wanted to make a Superman movie with Kevin Smith featuring one. Resets after you leave, you have to uncover it again. I see. I don't want to save all of that in memory because there's so many little areas. That wasn't a Centurion. There's potions and shit here. That's technically a chest. Hey, there it is. Right. Book. Only show up when your character's a higher level? I feel like I may have fought one earlier. Are they the big robot guys?
Gavros, is that you? I'd almost given up hope. Let me get the door. What the?
What's up?
What are you doing here? What have you done with Gavros? And just why would you be doing that? Oh, it doesn't matter now. Gavros is never coming back. And he was supposed to have the crystal. Without that, we're lost. It's all been for nothing. So congratulations.
So like Mage College is a pretty important side quest, and there's like an assassin side quest that's pretty good too, right?
Angrier Falmer. It didn't work the first time. I tried to tell Gavros, but he wouldn't listen. No, it won't be too cold, he said. Well, I was right, wasn't I? Focused completely wrong by the time we got here. The cold had warped it. Gavros had to cart it all the way back to Cyrodiil. Left the rest of us here to fend off the damnable Falmer.
I happen to have found a focusing crystal.
You found... How in the world? That's it? That's it! I don't know who you are, but you may have just saved this little project. In fact, who are you anyway?
Oh, I'm sorry, Andrea.
You are you?
I can really do list of major quest lines later.
But now you come here
Or just ask Chast to point me to another interesting one each time, depending on which time we have left in the holiday.
But you saved my skin, so maybe I can overlook the past for now. Come on, I'll explain on the way. No matter what Gavros said, this was my idea first. The Council is going to know that when I get back. I was the one who thought of using this oculory. I don't know what the dwarves called it. Something unpronounceable, I'm sure.
Sounds like the dwarves. Andrew, did you just sign in from a new Windows device?
This machinery, all of it, was designed to collect starlight, and then, I'm not sure, split it somehow? It was my idea to replace one of the key elements.
Dark Brotherhood is the one that I've heard about through just cultural osmosis, and the Mage College.
Just hope they got it right this time.
The one I've heard about without having played any of these games is like getting a scary message with a handprint on it that says "We know."
Magnificent, isn't it? Took an incredible amount of work to get it running again. Now I'm hoping it'll all be worth it. Place the crystal in the central apparatus, and we can start the process for focusing it.
I did a minigame like this earlier. Didn't really figure out what I was doing, though. Oh, I think this is similar to a puzzle in Ratchet and Clank. Much easier, though. I think I just pressed buttons without looking at the ceiling when I did the puzzle earlier. I didn't realize why it worked. Really? I thought I had it for a second and I just needed to get those little dots to line up with the lights. Guess not. And I guess that could still be the answer. Just didn't do anything when it landed there.
Oh.
What? What is it, Lydia? Thieves Guild's worth doing in Oblivion. I really don't know how this puzzle works. I think I just pressed buttons and it happened to get it right last time.
Need something?
Yeah, help.
Now the crystal needs to be focused. It was created so far away. We knew that some adjustments would have to be made. Heating and cooling the crystal will cause it to expand or contract, which will change how the light passes through it. You'll need to use spells to do that. Being from the college, I assume you know them already. There should be a few basic tomes around here somewhere in case your training is even more substandard than I've heard.
Huh.
All right then.
Is that doing something? I honestly can't tell. Alright, I think I'll look it up for next session. We're at time. Future Marstead. Do this puzzle, look it up. The name of the area that you're in, like have it looked up before stream starts, is Mzulft Observatory. MZULFT. And then you're going to continue doing the College of Winterhold questline after this. Oh, they like literally want a fire spell? Okay, I see. Thank you. I'll be back in a few with the final subblock game for today, Little Inferno. We'll be playing that for 2 hours.